evening, everybody. Welcome to the Motor City Mad Mouse Show, and I have a very, very, very special guest tonight. Her name is Jill. Well, according to the title, Jillian Schumacher. I'll be calling her Jill all night, and she is the latest member of the South Florida Tribune Media Network. She's gonna be doing hockey with us on Thursday nights, 4 nights a week, 3 or 4 times a month, but minimum at least three. And I am so pleased to be joined by this young lady for whom I met on LinkedIn, from who also does good work that I see on Instagram, and I go on there. But when I see her and we connected, it was just unbelievable that this young lady is actually a graduate. I think Jillian. Well, I'll get used to calling you Jillian because I got it right in front of my screen.
Either one works.
Okay. Well, you go to Syracuse University, or you went. They have a proud tradition up there. So tell me a little bit how you embrace the history of the sportscasters that have gone through Syracuse University. There's a lot of good ones in there. Now all of a sudden you're coming out of that group too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. I can't necessarily be grouped in with those people quite yet. But there's some greats coming out of there. Obviously, you have Mike Tirico, and then there's a long, long list of very, very established sportscasters that come out of Syracuse. So I'm just thankful enough to have been in a program that kind of sets that level of expectation from people who leave there. But I only did my grad school there. I did not do my undergrad there. What'd you say? So I did my undergrad at UMass Lowell in right outside of Boston. I played lacrosse there, and then I studied criminal justice with a minor in journalism. So really the whole thing fell through with falling in love with journalism and deciding that I needed to get my master's in it if I really wanted to continue.
We seem to be having some little technical difficulties, Scott. I'm going to come in and help you, but keep Jillian, just introduce a little bit more about like where you grew up kind of and start there, okay?
So I grew up in Long Island, right outside of the city, like 40 minutes away from the city. Grew up like going to Yankees game, Rangers games, Knicks games, and then the Jets, which is kind of funny because it's usually Yankees, Giants, Knicks, and then yeah, that's it. And then Rangers, and then it's usually Jets, Mets, Islanders, Knicks. The Nets usually aren't really involved in there too much, but so far it's been pretty good coming out of here. I'm very thankful for the type of atmosphere that I grew up in with the sports world. I mean, can't complain going from New York to Boston in terms of school, so it's been good so far.
Okay, now can you
All right, can you hear me, Jillian?
Correct. Yes, I can.
We're having a few technical difficulties, so we'll go over everything and go from there. So, with that said,
Good.
yeah, you're doing a good job. I just sometimes stuff like this happens in our industry, and we just want to get it all straightened out. So now I think we're back in business. Candy is always the one that comes to the rescue. So, all right, let's continue on the theme here. And you talked about growing up in New York. So, why don't you talk a little bit about what you said, and before then we'll get rolling again. So, you obviously grew up in the metropolitan New York area, and these are the teams that you follow. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, New York's one of those weird states where we have two of everything, and then for football we have three. But yeah, I have my teams that I follow, but then obviously I follow all the other teams as well that I don't in terms of like New York. So like I keep tabs on the Giants, even though I'm a Jets fan, and I keep tabs on the Mets, even though I'm a Yankees fan. Like you can't really not. So
Right. So, were there any female broadcasters that you grew up idolizing? I'm sure you probably study what's in there now. I mean, let's face it, you're one of them. I know, for example, I grew up enjoying Phyllis George. Leslie Visser is a good friend of mine. I really like Leslie, and then Hannah Storm and Linda Cohn. And Linda's obviously doing hockey. Those are just a few that come up top of my head, but I imagine there are a few that come to mind now that you're actually actively doing this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're talking about football, Aaron Andrews is someone that comes right to
Okay.
mind. But then a Syracuse grad is Beth Mowens. She is a play-by-play broadcaster, so that's something that I really look up to because there are more now, but when I was growing up, there wasn't as many female play-by-play broadcasters. It usually was just sideline, but now we're seeing a bunch more, which is super, super exciting. I feel like there was more in the industry when I was even just in high school and college growing up, but I don't really remember when I was younger seeing a
Right.
ton of female play-by-play broadcasters, but that also could have been because I was young and I wasn't really picking up on that stuff.
Well, let's face it, Erin Andrews has come a long way in her day. She began with ESPN and she's graduated and done a great job at Fox. And Beth Mullins, a lot of people don't realize it, but she is really, really, really good, especially
Oh,
as a
she's great.
play-by-play. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you like about both of those individuals.
I mean, just like I said, Beth is just someone who's very, very diligent in everything that she does in terms
Right.
of
Okay.
like play-by-play stuff. She's very detail oriented, and it's something that I try to emulate in my own work. I don't think you can try to be a carbon copy of anyone in this
Right.
industry or else you're not original, but I
Right.
do think the amount of effort and detail she puts in is something that should be noticed.
Well, that's true because I've dived into play-by-play a little myself, and the amount of preparation that you have to put in. Most people don't even understand this. But think about it: when you go to a game, I know when I go to a game, whether it's a writer or as an announcer, you got to be there at least 3 or 4 hours to prep, let alone what you do there than what you do afterwards. Not so much afterwards because the work is done, but what you do. So you're probably looking anywhere between 4 to 7, 8 hours at the stadium. Would you think that that's an appropriate amount of time that you put in when you do something?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I probably get there, what, 2 hours before, like, the show open, at
Right,
least? But it's not so much the day of that's so long, it's the prep work leading up to it.
right,
It's because, like, a lot of my friends who are in the industry, they're in business or in finance or, like, whatever, they thought that there was, like, someone in their ear, like, giving them all of this information all of the time, which to a degree that is true, but they don't realize that there's, like, notes and stats that these people are preparing days in advance in front of them. They thought this
right.
was something that people just, like, had remembered off the top of their head, and that's the case, but also not the case. Like, you gotta do your homework or else you'll be screwed.
Yeah, that's true. There's no way you can do this extemporaneously. There's no way. It's one thing to think on your feet. That's all well and good. But if
Yeah.
you don't know the stats, then you're in trouble. And I'll tell you something, growing up in the industry as I have, and I've done it a long time, and I know you're going to be in it a long time, is I can remember many times being in the press box, I'd have all kinds of press notes. I'd have my highlighters and be able to do everything by the time game rolls around. It was easy, but it's all the stuff, whether it's media guys, now everything's done electronically. So
Mhm.
I've got to go back to this because you got me really more and more intrigued. Okay. You get into broadcasting, but what inspired you to get into it? Because that fascinates me how you really pretty much pivoted to doing what you do. Is it the fact that this became more of a stimulus challenge type of thing versus what you were originally going to major into doing?
So it kinda started off when I was playing lacrosse in college, and I was kind of just getting my degree just to get my degree. I
Right.
wasn't really super fascinated in what I was doing, and while I was there, I created a podcast of my own to interview fellow student athletes about their lives outside of
Okay.
sports to showcase athletes as people first, not just as stats and jersey numbers.
Okay.
So that's kind of what sparked the whole storytelling side of me. So
Okay.
I picked up a journalism minor because at that point in my undergrad, if I completely switched, I would have graduated a year late. And I was like, at that point, I might as well just go to grad school. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Storytelling is what this is all about. So have you done radio or have you done radio and TV?
I've done radio and TV. While I was at Syracuse, I hosted like a bi-weekly radio show where we would discuss like ACC sports, Syracuse sports, and
Okay.
just New York sports in general. They allow the students there to like audition, and we'll get like an hour slot every other week.
Which one did you like better?
It's different. I mean, I like radio because I think it's more like free flowing and it's like just
Oh, yeah.
sports talk radio is a little bit more, I don't want to say relaxing, because you have to know your stuff just as much, but I think it's just more conversational. And I would say I'm a conversational person, so I
Right.
do like radio, but I also love being on TV as well in terms of analyst stuff, especially for lacrosse, because that's the sport that I played, and even play by play as well. It's like I'm being trusted to tell these people's
Right.
stories. I know I'm explaining the game, but then again, I'm also in the hands of someone's grandma's watching this game, and I'm the voice that they're hearing. So,
Well, what got me into sportscasting was my late Aunt Tina. She
mhm,
said when I was broadcasting Red Wings games many years ago, she would turn off the sound and watch me do it.
mhm,
And that was fun. And I did the Tiger. The Lions, not so much because I was trying to understand football and the Pistons, not so much. You couldn't really get them on TV then, but the Red Wings and the Tigers, especially the Wings, I would turn it off. But I guess the thing that you're telling me that decided to get you into sportscasting was you like to do the storytelling. Is that correct?
yeah, I hear that that's a very common thing of what you just explained, that a lot of people grew up like trying to
Right.
call games themselves. But
Right.
I didn't really realize that this was even like an avenue or like a job that I could do. Like I knew people did it, but the idea of like how to get involved in it, I had absolutely no idea. So I think it's just more of that I was someone who played sports their whole life and then after college decided that they wanted to stay in it. So I did my research and figured out like what I needed to do, and I've kind of just been going from there.
Beautiful. So let's talk about your play-by-play now. All right. Now you got me wanting to go back and see if I can find any kind of play-by-play that I could get into. And I've dived into it, but now I'm out here doing what I'm doing as an executive producer for my own network, where
Yeah.
I enjoy interviewing people and being able to do different types of shows with in different groups as you're going to experience from now on Thursday nights. And I'm going to pair you with some really great veterans where you'll be able to rock. But one thing I like about what you're doing is the fact that you are shadowing other people. And the sign of a good broadcaster is the ability to shadow around people
Mhm.
so that you can take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and turn it into Jill. And that's the thing that's important.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, I kind of started completely from scratch because it was like play by play and just broadcasting in general now. And I'm sure it was the same way when you first started, that it's kind of like a chicken before the egg situation where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, do you want to see like we need to see a reel so we can give you an opportunity? I'm like, okay, well, I can't get a reel until someone gives me an opportunity. So what I
Right.
did is I emailed I think every Division 3 school within like an hour radius of me to see if they would let me broadcast their games. And then Cortland gave me a chance to do that. So that's where I started. And then I also started calling games for high schools nearby as well. So that's where I started just to get practice and reps. And then from there, I built my way up. And then I was calling games for ACC Network as an analyst for lacrosse
So
through
you work for the ACC network, is that correct?
not technically work, but the, how Syracuse works as a university, I
Okay.
believe we're the only university that does this. They will allow students to be the play-by-play or analyst for certain games. So because of my lacrosse background, because I played Division 1, I showed that I could handle myself on camera, and then
Right.
they gave me some opportunities to be the analyst for some of the games on ACC Network.
Okay, so do you put ACC network on a prospective resume? I think if you do, it's impressive because let's face the reality, you are technically doing some freelance work for them, even though they're not technically being hired. I would think you would, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. But I wouldn't say I was, like, specifically employed by them. It's like a weird, like, roundabout thing, but yes. And I do freelance stuff right now for LIU doing, play-by-play and sideline stuff when they need me to, so
Nobody's employed by anybody nowadays. It's all freelance anyways, doesn't matter. So, all right, so let's talk about it. You've done play-by-play for soccer, field hockey, and volleyball. And are there other ones that I'm missing? Because those are pretty interesting sports. You better do a lot of storytelling for soccer and field hockey. I don't think a lot of people know as much about it because it's not as publicized as regular hockey. And volleyball is an action-packed sport. So tell me your experiences in those three sports or any
yeah.
other ones that I may be missing.
So those were the 3 main ones that I've done play-by-play for. The only one that I was an analyst for was lacrosse in the spring. Those
Okay.
3 sports I've been doing for LIU right now, which has been super fun. It's also allowing me to kind of, like, build up my on-air, like, repertoire, if you will, because a lot of those
Right.
I don't have an analyst. So it's a lot of me talking and learning to, like, be comfortable with dead air, but also being able to analyze a little bit of what I can, but not talk when I shouldn't be talking. But it's been a very interesting time. I think that field hockey was also very interesting because for me, at least where I went for my undergrad, our field hockey team was pretty good. So I had some knowledge and background, but for
Okay.
any sport that I cover that's new for me, I am doing a very, very deep dive of anything possible just so that I'm aware of what's going on.
Yeah, well, preparation is all it's all about, that's for sure. So you've talked about, we'll talk about your favorite sports a little bit. I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but, and then we'll have a little bit of fun with it because I interviewed a guy that you obviously mentioned earlier as we started our earlier conversation. You say your favorite sports are baseball, basketball, and hockey, and you grew up in the New York area. I know that you said specified the Knicks and the Yankees and Jets and the Rangers are the ones that you follow the most. Well, the Knicks haven't really given anybody a championship in a while, and they let Tom Thibodeau go, which I still think could bite them later. We'll see how Mike Brown does. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to. So, what are your thoughts about the Knicks at this particular point?
They looked good last night against the Cavs, so I mean, we'll see what happens. We just need something right now. I mean, they made it to the playoffs for the first time in what, half a decade? Or was it a full decade last year, I think it was? I can't fully remember off the top of my head what the timeline was, but it's been years since they made it to a playoff run. And they made it last year and then they fired Thibodeau halfway through. So uh I don't know about that decision, but I'm not on the board for that one. So, but I think we have a lot of veterans coming back. Not a lot has changed for that team, which is a good thing. I think that this early in the season, it will be very hard to tell considering there are a lot of injuries. Um, so especially Hart being one of them, but we shall see.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I think I have a feeling that defense is a foreign language for most NBA teams. Tom Thibodeau is as good at it as anybody else, and he's a heck of a coach. He's been a winner somewhere else. We'll see what Mike Brown can do. The Yankees, on the other hand, they're not happy unless they're winning World Series, and they haven't done it for a while. So let's talk about the Yankees for a moment. Aaron Judge obviously has more lives than Morris. What are your thoughts about the direction that the Yankees are going in?
I mean, the reality of the situation is that I want to be like, I can be upset, but other fans of other teams haven't made it to playoffs consistently as we have over the past 2 years. So I'm not going to sit here and complain as a Yankees fan when we do win and we do make it far, but it is frustrating when we keep getting so close but just can't seem to shut the door. So
Well, they have two exceptional broadcasters. Meredith Marakovitz is one out there that does the sideline, and I
mhm.
met Susan Waldman recently. They're both unbelievable. Since you're a New York person, do you ever look at those two women and use them as role models?
Yeah, I mean, any woman in New York sports space, I'm always looking at and seeing what they're doing and what I can improve on. I do listen to radio a lot as well, just because, baseball is one of those sports where they play more often than not. And it's hard to always have the TV on when the Yankees are playing. So
Right.
I do listen to the radio as well.
Yeah, but Meredith Marakovitz does a really good job. I think I met her once with Susan. I got to know her a little bit when she was at Marlins, and they're two of the two great people in their own way, and they make a lot of. I tell you, they have legacies of their own. Michael Kay's a good guy. I've got to know a lot of those people, the Yankees. In fact, I'll go a step further back with you, Jill. Back in 1982, I covered the Fort Lauderdale Yankees.
Okay. Yeah, that's
82. I know it's way before your time, and I got to know Don Mattingly many years ago, Stump Merrill, and Don Mattingly. Obviously, I had a one-on-one interview with Lisa. I don't know if I sent that one to you or not, but I'll send it to you at some point. So I know you got so much to do with it. You listen to them, but that one's only 9 minutes. I won't. that'd probably be worth a little on your lunch break. But the New York Jets, on the other hand, to me, they have made life difficult for people in that area, haven't they?
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't have any answers at this point. I just ah, I don't know. I think that there's a very high chance we go 0-17. I almost I wouldn't be mad because at this point it's like whatever, but I just hope that if we do get the first round draft pick from that, that we don't take it, that we trade the first round draft pick for more draft capital because I
Right.
don't think it's a QB problem right now. We've seen that half of the QBs that have left and were our starters are now out doing great things for other franchises. So I think it's a rebrand thing and a culture problem. I don't think it's a finger pointing issue. There's a lot of things that could be changed. So
Well, Aaron Glenn is over his head, and you don't go out there and disrespect Aaron Rodgers the way he did. Get him to fly across country and say, "You're not my quarterback anymore." And all of a sudden, Justin Fields, to me, this kid looks like he's lost out there. I feel bad for him. It's one thing that he had a tough time in Chicago, but he comes here thinking he can play. I don't know if the kid is wrecked or not, but his confidence looks like it's taking a toll. Do you notice the same thing?
I happen to really like Justin Fields. I'm also like a big Ohio State person, so I might be a little
Okay.
biased there. But in that regard, I don't think you could blame Fields. I think it's easy to point blame on a quarterback in any
All right.
situation, but I just think it's not everyone on the field is not performing their 100%, and that just creates like one big weak chain. So
Mhm.
if he were to be doing 100%, I still don't know if we would be doing any better.
But what about the way they treated Rodgers? I mean, that to me, Zoom calls are okay. You don't have to make the guy go out there and fly across country, and all of a sudden, boom, you don't think he's your quarterback. You're giving demands for a first-year coach like Aaron Glenn. There's a way
Yeah.
to handle things, and there's a way not to. And I think Glenn found a way not to. But what's your take?
I don't really have a comment on that one. I thought it
Okay.
was very odd that he was brought to New York in the first place just
Okay.
because I don't think that bringing in a veteran quarterback was gonna fix anything. I think we needed to
Okay.
find someone who was gonna be there long term to build
Hmm.
this team around.
Right.
So but I do understand what you're saying in terms of him being a veteran and him deserving a certain level of respect, but yeah.
Right. That's all I'm saying, and I'm glad you picked up on that. Now, one team that I know you feel good about is the New York Rangers. I know they've struggled a little early on. I know for a while they won 3 home games without even scoring a goal. Now they've got one. But let's talk about the bigger picture. Neil Smith ended up building this team into a championship team. He brought in Mark Messier, and I did an interview with him recently. What are your thoughts about the Rangers in general? This, to me, when you play for the original 6 team like the New York Rangers, that's to me in Madison Square Garden. And I have a good friend of mine who's their play-by-play broadcaster by the name of Kenny Albert, who I had on this very show like you. I'll have to send this tape over to Kenny one of these days and say, I brought a young lady that I'm working with, and I'll have him check you out after I get you up to speed. How do you like that one?
Sounds good.
So what do you talk about the Rangers, though?
Um, I don't know. I really thought that 2020 was our year, and
Mm-hmm.
then we wound up losing to the Panthers. It was, like, so good on paper, and
Right.
then I believe it was, like, we lost in, like a game 5? I don't remember when it was. I just remember it vividly because it was my senior year of college, and I
Right.
was like, "This is the year," and it just slipped away from us. I just feels like the Rangers and every other New York team right now, it feels like the commonality is that everything feels like it's there, but we can't seem to close the door or do the final step to, like, get that trophy. So, but the Rangers this year, yes, I do think it was a little bit alarming when there were no goals scored within the first 3 games of the season. That was a little alarming, I won't lie, but I think that there are a lot of hockey games in a season, and they'll be able to figure it out.
Well, Gerard Gallant had a pretty good run. I don't know if he wore out his welcome a little quick. I know he has a short lifespan. Mike Sullivan's a really good coach. And of course, the job that Neil Smith putting that whole thing together. I know I sent you that. And it was I had a good time talking to him. I had somebody that set it up. Neil Smith is the ideal general manager to build a program. With that said, we're going to go to a station break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about your time as a goaltender for lacrosse and what you've learned in the field so far. We'll go to a station break. Jillian, it's really fun having you on the show, and I'm learning a lot about you and looking forward to what you're going to do with us a week from tonight. Go ahead, Ken.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the industry and how it has changed old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to be a guest or have ideas, you can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to sponsor a show or advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. But if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, what are you waiting for? Just hit it like a sheriff and then tell all your friends and family. And then one last thing, turn that notification button on so you get notified every time we go live. We love to have you and commenting on the show in our comments section. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Katie. We also get a lot of comments through on YouTube as well. So feedback, if it's not instant here in the chat room, we get a lot of it as well. So I'm so pleased to be joined by Jill Schumacher. And I'm telling you, she is a bright young lady. Once again, for those of you that are just joining us, we met through LinkedIn. And I think you sent me a request or vice versa.
I don't remember.
But we connected through LinkedIn, a great place if you're looking to go out there and connect professional. And I'm so proud to have this young lady on here. George Eichhorn, by the way, is the guy you're going to be working with next Thursday night. And he's a guy I worked with when I was starting out in 1979. So, George, get used to Jillian. She's a dynamo. I am proud of this young lady, and the sky's the limit for her. Let me tell you, I have a good feeling about her. I'm not putting any pressure on her. She does a good job. I've looked at her work on Instagram. It is what it is. But so let's talk about your experience playing goalie in Division I lacrosse. What was that like?
I mean, it's exactly, I don't want to say what you think it was like, but I mean, I grew up being a goalie here on Long Island because it was the closest thing I could get to boys lacrosse because it was the only thing they had with like a helmet and stuff. So that's how I started doing that. And I played at UMass Lowell. I wouldn't change it for the world. My teammates are my best friends still to this day. I do think that me playing taught me a lot in terms of broadcasting and also just time management and work as well. So I'm very used to working with limited time to get certain things done. So time management was for sure up there, but it's also just like a mentality there being a D1 athlete, just like striving to go to the extra mile when you can.
Let me tell you something. Being a goaltender reminds me of being a catcher. It's a thinking man's position. It really is a thinking person because you have to make those decisions. You're the quarterback at that particular point when you're handling the ball. And you say you went to UMass Lowell. Mike Santos, by the way, is from the actual New England area. He has a big and wait till you get him on. You're going to learn a lot from him. So to have the opportunity, I'm hoping to have Mike on Sports Wrap probably after Thanksgiving. He does so many other things as well. And when Jillian and I talked about Mike Santos, I think you've heard of him, haven't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Mike?
Boston area. I was saying I've heard of him like briefly and just what he's done within like the hockey world, but I'm not like aggressively familiar with like most of his work. But I know when you said the name, I was like, I know who that is.
Well, he's been the commissioner of a couple of hockey leagues, number one, and he's also worked with the a few different NHL organizations. So he's been around the circuit, and being a commissioner speaks volumes of himself. So yeah, UMass Lowell, the New England area does produce a lot of great hockey talent, and we all know about the rivalry between Boston College and Boston University, Harvard, and the rest of that group out there,
Yeah,
which is
the
pretty interesting as well. Did you follow that a lot?
Yeah. That's all within the realm of like Hockey East. That's like UMass Lowell's conference. That's the Beanpot that you were just
Right.
referencing. UMass Lowell isn't in the Beanpot because it's technically not a Boston school. So
Okay.
it's just Harvard, Northeastern, BU, and BC that competes in that, I believe, for the men's. And then I believe the women also have that as well. I don't know if it's still called the Beanpot for the women, but I know that they do something very similar.
All I know is they play great hockey in there, and a lot of people know that they win a lot of championships.
Mhm.
So, what have you learned in the field so far? I've seen you through your Instagram clips over at Gillette Stadium, working with the Patriots, and you get that little microphone out there and do what you've got to do. But explain to me what it's like for Jill out in the field and what you're able to do as a reporter.
Yeah, so what you were referencing was something that I did for my capstone for Syracuse. We
Okay.
were sent as interns to work for WPRI in Providence, which is the news station out there,
Okay.
to help them cover Patriots training camp. So that was like a month and a half long internship. And it was just great in terms of like networking and like learning the kind of the ins and outs of a professional NFL team and how media works in that realm.
Right.
So that was really good. While I was there, I got to do a bunch of like stand-ups, live shots, like stuff like that, just making packages, filming, all that type of stuff. So that was a really cool experience in that realm. So
how do you like interviewing?
I like it a lot. I think it's probably my favorite part of doing sports media in general. I love to get to know athletes and just kind of show them as people first rather than just a number or a stat. So that's always my main goal. But I do also love sports broadcasting in terms of play by play or sideline or anything like that.
Well, we all know full well that the sky's the limit for you. All you need to do is just keep. Do you watch a lot of sportscasters week in and week out on college football to try to pick things up from them when they're on TV and just see what you can do? Because I don't know about you. If I see a guy who's a great one-on-one interview, for example, Roy Firestone, I don't know if you've heard their name or not, and a lot of other one-on-one people, I just watch these people and just study them. I'm a student of this industry, and I can only imagine if you're the same way as well, because there's a lot of people that you can do. But do you study a lot of these people just to see what you're able to do from afar?
Yes and no. I think that I look at people and see what they do to see where I can improve. But I
Right.
also think that once again, if you try to completely change who you are as a broadcaster to emulate someone else, like that person already exists.
Right.
So you kind of want to be your own person, be your own brand. And I think it's good to see how they phrase certain things or how they
Right.
are. But I don't think that like you could study them, but you shouldn't try to like completely emulate them.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, you got to be yourself. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to steal one person's line and make it my own. No, I got to come up with my own stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, they made their name doing what they're doing. I'm going to make my name doing my own thing. And
exactly.
I totally agree with you. And you are 100% on target. That it's just the idea that when you watch people, how they carry themselves with the hand
Yeah,
language, the body language, and how they go about approaching. Those are the little things that you learn and that we all
I
learn in the field in school. Just we call them the intangibles. Jillian is what we use.
yes.
I'm using Jillian because I think they're both beautiful names. So I just jumble Jill to Jillian. Don't make any sense.
I get both, so either one works.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, but that's the thing. You could go out there and look at all the different styles, and again, there's only one Jillian Schumacher out there, and you're going to carve your niche wherever you find out where you end up doing it.
Yeah.
At this point in time, I enjoy being an executive producer doing these interviews with someone like you because you're right. The advantage of being able to interview somebody is to get to know them in depth, find out what they're all about, and by finding out what they're all about, you get comfortable with them. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you so many people I've studied with one-on-one. I just know Roy Firestone is the one guy that comes to mind because I watch him from a distance. Never really met the guy. Not worried. There's other ones that have been good too. But my first big interview was with Tom Lasorda of the Los Angeles Dodgers. back in 1981. You've heard of Tommy?
I think so. I
Yeah,
gotta look him up. You're going a little too far back for me, I think.
I know, Jillian. I know. I'm going back. Tommy Lasorda of the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's okay. Yeah, a guy by the name of Phil Pepe taught me a couple tricks. I know we're going back. That's why I've been trying to say this. It's okay, Joe. But that was my first major interview. I gained a lot of confidence, and then everything went on, and here I am, way much older, and I've done a lot of these, and they come on firsthand. So and what else do you want people to know about you professionally? I've done the asking questions, but it's time for you to tell Jillian's story.
I mean, professionally, in what realm? I mean, I kind of, I don't know. I just always try to make sure I'm being myself, whether that is on air, off air, like who you see on TV is who you're going to meet in person. I also think in a professional realm right now, I mean, we've spoken about this. I'm applying for jobs and interviewing for jobs right now across all types of medium, whether that be TV, radio, broadcasting. So I don't really pigeonhole myself to one type of medium. I'm open to anything and everything,
Right.
and willing to learn.
Obvious. I can see that the potential that you have is off the charts. And I hope a lot of people will look at you and they see the time that we're spending on this show to realize that I have a hidden gem sitting right in front of me. And hopefully, as time goes on, you'll accumulate enough film here to impress people. And that's my goal. I've mentored, Jill, a lot of people over my lifetime. And the biggest thing I can tell you that I've learned from them, if you have the work ethic and you're pleasant and you're polite, and people can look at you in a very positive, credible way, you've got a shot, because you know full well, and you've been in the industry long enough, there's no shortcuts in this business. If you put in the work or you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any other personal interests that you like to share with people when you're not around here? I'm not asking you to get personal. I'm just saying, what other interests do you have outside of this? It's just one of those things, or I want people to get to know you outside of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, outside of sports in general, it's really not a huge surprise that I love to go to the gym in my free time.
Right.
I love to lift. That's not really too surprising. I do read a lot. I live right near the beach, so going to the beach and reading is one of my favorite things to do with my dog as well. But yeah, I would say that. And then I just have a lot of friends I like to hang out with when I get the chance. But I would say right now, because I'm just starting off in this industry, I'm very consumed about trying to get a lot of content out. So my free time is usually spent trying to create something else when I can. So
Great stuff. Are there any people that you've been inspired by the most in your lifetime, whether it's family members or people outside of here? I know lots of people are inspired by somebody.
yeah, I mean, I would say my mom. My mom is a public speaker and an author. She created this program when I was in middle school, I believe it was. It's called Don't Press Send. It's a mindfulness approach to social media for children, because kind of social media became like a huge thing first off when I was in like middle school, elementary school. So she kind of took the initiative, and now she public speaks about it all around, and she has a children's book, a regular book, and then she also has a TED Talk. So her kind of being able to change the trajectory of her career was, I would say, very notable for me.
Do you have aspirations to do some public speaking?
I'm not opposed. I've public speaked before, but right, that's not even right. Spoken? Yes, spoken.
Right. No, that's okay.
I've done it before at like awards dinners and stuff, but that's the full extent. I don't really know. Maybe down the line, but
Okay. Well, listen, you have your whole life to go. I'm not asking you yet today. Tell me all your goals in one short 40-minute conversation. But I know an author is something I always dreamed of and finally got it done. But I imagine at some point, as you accumulate stories, you see Jillian Schumacher being an author one day like their mom.
Maybe. I don't know if I have the whole patience to sit down and write a book. I like to speak more than I do to write. So maybe if anything, I'll turn it into like an audio series.
That's all right. Well, nothing wrong with that. So you say you don't have the patience to write?
No, write a book,
Oh, write a book. Okay.
write
Yeah.
write write articles for sports and like game recaps, can do that no problem, but like a
Right.
full 200, 300 page book, I think that's where I tap out.
Jillian, let me tell you something. It took me into my late 50s to do mine. So if you're telling me you may not have the patience, you won't be the first one that ever said it, and you won't be the last, but you're not going to have to for a while. You have a lot of storytelling to do before you even get to that point. But I'm
Yeah.
so intrigued by the fact that your mom does public speaking and that she's a writer, because I've always been a firm believer. And tell me what you think about this. Okay. Do you think it's good to be a writer in order to be a good broadcaster?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I mean, look at Malika Andrews. Uh, she's
Okay.
all over the NBA, and she started as a writer. They pulled her off because of her knowledge that she had as a writer. So I think there's like an attention to detail thing
Right.
there that you have to bring people in through just words on a page. And if you could do that, and then you're put in front of a screen and you're able to articulate that, and you're comfortable with that, then yeah,
Right.
I would say those people would make the best broadcasters, but not all writers want to be on on a screen. So, but those who do, I think it would completely enhance everything.
You ever heard of Bob Ryan?
No, I don't think so.
He used to work for the Boston Globe. He's one of us older guys. I had him on recently. Mike Wilbon is a guy that you probably heard of. I think a little bit, maybe not. But
Mhm.
some of these other guys, many of them began as writers, and they obviously were able to get behind the microphone
Yeah.
seamlessly, easy. And like I said, with you, the sky's the limit. So, did you start out as a writer before you got into broadcasting? I guess that's the one thing I forgot to ask. I'm glad I mentioned that.
No, not really. I kind of just started directly on the mic.
Oh, did
Just
you? Okay.
yeah, all my journalism background at UMass Lowell was more in kind of hard news, if you will. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was also a criminology major with like a minor in journalism, so it had a lot to do with that type of stuff. So, but not so much. I think it worked then to become a writer and then to go on screen, but now that
Right.
because everything's so digitalized and like podcasts and all of that, I don't really know how that will transition in 15, 20 years from now, but
Right.
I can't predict the future. So,
Yeah, nobody can predict the future, but yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of different ways to get in, and the thing about podcasting is it has changed everything.
yeah.
Podcasting is your way to get players are doing it and all that. I don't want to drag on to that. Some of them are using it to becoming a distraction on the field, but there's no question that the industry has changed. Back in the day, I used my writing in order to beat a lot of the good people, a lot of people in the press boxes and all that.
Yeah.
So when you talk about what's like play by play, when you get in that zone, what goes through your mind? Do you feel like the light switch goes on, and where's your mind at that particular point?
For me, like when I'm driving there and stuff, it almost feels like I'm like driving to play in a game again, like I was in
Right,
college. So it makes me feel a little washed up sometimes, but it's more of like I'm just excited to be there, and I'm excited that I'm getting the opportunity to potentially to continue talking about sports for a living. So, but in that zone when I'm there, it's more of I'm just very like hyper focused on what's going
right.
on and making sure I'm locked in, but not too locked in that I'm not capturing the moment that's around me as well for the people who aren't there through the TV.
Do you find yourself a very even keel broadcaster, or do you find a point where you have that excitable quality for the moment?
I would not say I'm even keel. I would say I you can tell when I'm excited and when you can for sure tell.
Okay. So, would you ever have a desire, out of curiosity, to do football or baseball? I know I presented this question to Jim Nance one time down in North Carolina, and Jim, we all know, I know you know who he is, right? But
Yes.
he's obviously football and golf. I
Mhm.
asked him if he would ever do baseball. No way, that's not his deal. Golf's more his style. Baseball requires a lot of research and more time at the ballpark. Golf, you just go out there and just roll with that a little bit more. But what's
Yeah.
your thoughts about doing some of the other sports that I mentioned?
I would love to do baseball. I think
Would you?
baseball's a very, very fun time. I also think it's one of the few sports that lasts as long as it does in terms of
Right.
length of season. So I think that's great. I would also love to do football as well. I haven't not done those because I don't want to. I haven't done those because there hasn't been a specific opportunity for me to be a broadcaster for those sports specifically yet.
Yeah, if you could get a job in baseball, and I know there's minor league teams up there, you should really give it a shot. I think it's a sport that, to me, I've always loved baseball. I don't think I could do any other sport, Jill, other than baseball at this point because I love the storytelling. And my mentor, I don't know if you've heard the name Ernie Harwell of the Tigers, is a guy who's mentored me and taught me a lot about it's like. Of course, everybody's heard of Vin Scully. Never had a chance to meet Vin Scully. Every time I tried to meet him, he was never up in Vero Beach. But when you have the legendary baseball guys and you pick their brain, someone like you, and now, of course, there's a lot more female play-by-play announcers. I'm sure you're probably taking notice of that too, aren't you?
Yeah. It was this past year when I believe it was the Red Sox had a full all-female broadcast team, which that was really cool to see for one of their games, because growing up, I don't think we had that at all. So it's really good just to have that representation in that realm, not just for me, obviously, because I'm older now, but for younger girls who are getting into sports, seeing that is an avenue that they could possibly get into.
Well, guess what, Jillian? We're getting some action in the chat room. How do you like that? How do you like to respond to some questions? Okay. And we got Atlanta Falcons versus South. We love hockey. When is Atlanta getting a team, Jill? All right, come on, give it to us.
That's a great question. I don't know. You guys should probably figure that out.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, Atlanta Falcons. You get to see Jillian, okay, on Thursday nights, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time on Sports Wrap. That's a show that Jillian's going to be on with myself. George Eichhorn will be on there. Mark Miraday will be on there from time to time. Cody Spink, Mike Santos. We're going to bring a lot of different people in there. Be surprised, Jillian. You're going to meet a lot of different people in the hockey world. We're going to get that name of yours out there. So when Atlanta Falcons or whoever else comes on, and of course, Sportsnet standards, LOL. Yeah, you definitely know what those are, right, Jillian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think the standards are in broadcasting? Give me a few.
The standard?
Yeah.
Well, my personal standard is just to make sure that I'm delivering everything that's factual, for one.
Right.
And for two, just making sure that I'm timely and on time with my calls, and that I think pronunciation is also another big one. I think those are some they're basic standards, but they're very important standards.
See, Atlanta Falcons South, I'm going to tell you right now, we're ready to see the best sport back. The reason why I believe the third time will be a charm for you is because they're putting that team in the suburbs. Otherwise, I think it would be in trouble downtown. So I definitely believe that Atlanta will do well with their third time. I really do, Jillian, because that's a market where you have a big population.
I agree.
And I think the Atlanta Braves are proving that if you put them in the suburbs there, they'll show up. So I think Atlanta has a good shot, and I'm looking forward to see them get the team when the time does come to get that thing.
I mean, not to go way back. I mean, you talk about the Whalers leaving, going to become the Hurricanes, and they clearly went on and to do fine. So I don't see why you couldn't do something similar. I'm not saying to take a team from somewhere else, but I could see that working out well in that area.
Well, guess what? He comes back with my boss as the developer of the new arena up in Cumming, Georgia. I hope you're a subscriber, Atlanta Falcons South. If you are, that's great stuff. Then you're going to get your hockey fix every week. Please subscribe if you aren't. If you are, then our thanks as well. You ever heard of Gordie Howe?
I don't think so, no.
Then I know full well that she's definitely a young whippersnapper for sure. Gordie Howe, by the way, is Mr. Hockey. You'll get to know him really soon.
Oh, wait. Yes, I do know Gordie Howe.
Okay.
I have his card.
You what?
I have a card, like a Howie's like hockey card. I have a whole box of them.
Really?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know why I only know him as Mr. Hockey, and then
look at that. There you go. That's all it takes, Jillian. It's a Mr. Hockey reference, and now it comes out, people. Forget about Gordie Howe. Jillian knows Mr. Hockey. All right, so what do you think of Mr. Hockey, Jillian? Because you're going to be on the hockey show.
Well, I mean, I can't comment too much considering that was a little bit before my time, but I just didn't know him as the person that he was. So,
Well, it's good enough. All he did was play in 5 or 6 decades. That's all. No big deal.
yeah.
What about Wayne Gretzky?
Well, I'm a Rangers fan, so I'm a big fan of of him and what he did for our team as well. So, you can't say anything bad about Gretzky. I mean, Ovechkin passed his record this past year, so
Yeah, he did that. So what do you think of Ovi now that this Atlanta Falcons guy is asking? What do you think of this guy?
well, I hope he has a good last year. I I I'm serious. He did such great things last season that thought he was gonna try to like end on that high, but I think maybe he has other things planned. I would assume that the cup is probably one of them for him, but I hope he has a really good last season and goes out with a bang.
There we go. And everybody, you get to hear her all the time. So he wants to know what your team is. Show the bias here.
Oh, I'm a Rangers fan. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I am a Rangers fan, but obviously we weren't off to a good start there for a hot minute, but we'll see how the rest of the season goes. I always think the first 3 weeks, it's too soon to tell with anything, but we'll see how the rest of the season goes so far.
Yeah, I'm a Red Wings guy by trade. So he says Atlanta Falcons says he cheers on the Utah Mammoth.
I like that. I I mean, I always love a new team, so I also kind of like the jerseys without the mammoth logo. Like I liked how before they put anything on, how it just says Utah. I know they didn't put the logo on yet, but I kind of hope that they just like rock with just the Utah. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they changed the name to Mammoth, and Gary Bettman gave them the chance to get away from their previous background because we all know full well what happened in the desert as well. But the best part about it is I get to hear your commentary and I get to have guys like Atlanta Falcons, everybody else in the chat room to be able to pick your brain about all this thing. And like I said before, you are here on the South Florida Tribune Media Network. We'll bring you on 3 times a month, and we're as often as you want to come on any other shows, but we're starting with this anyway. And I know, like you say, you're a Rangers fan. And one thing you and I both have in common, we're both original 6 teams, which seems to fit in fine. Icorn's a Red Wing guy, and our man Cody Spink out there is I believe, an Anaheim's Duck, and his dad does the LA Kings. They call Royally Quacked out there as well. So you and I have the situation that the Neil Smith connection, and I don't know if you were alive when they won the Stanley Cup or not, or what you've heard about it, but hey, listen, that was a heck of a team as we get ready to wrap this program up. Any final thoughts about the Rangers in that Stanley Cup?
Well, obviously it was a little bit before my time, but I do have a couple of memorabilia. I got a shirt actually that I just thrifted 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's from that cup. It's a nice one. It's a nice one.
See, Atlanta wanted them to be called the Utah Blizzard. Well, that'd probably be appropriate considering where they're located, but oh well. They got Mammoth instead. There are a lot of things they wanted to call. So, but never going to happen again. The Jets have a better chance right now than the Rangers. Okay, well there you go. He's in your neck of the woods there, Jillian. What are your thoughts? Keep commenting. Hey, you're going to have to do. I'll tell you, when you come on with us, we're going to go out there and have you comment on some of these chats so yours truly can do the executive producing. So please get used to helping me in that department as my designated co-host. Is that fair enough?
Yeah. I'll let you know. I don't know about that. I think the Jets are going 0-17. So I think there's a lot more hockey left to play than there is a lot more football left to play. So there's a little bit more wiggle room in terms of hockey than there is football, just because the amount of games that you play.
So there you have it. Jillian Schumacher predicts that the New York Jets are going to go 0-17. No, not the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh, not football. I thought he was comparing the Rangers to the Jets, to the New York Jets.
Yeah, he's talking the Winnipeg Jets. Once upon a time, I think they went ahead.
Sorry, you joined the chat late. We were talking about the New York Jets earlier, so I got confused.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, but you're going out on a limb saying that you feel at the rate things are going, the New York Jets could go 0-17, right? You feel that way?
I just want us to get good draft capital. That's all. So I wouldn't hate it.
Okay. Well, nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, let's face reality, Joe. You're trying to make your mark in this industry. The way you do that, not only provide storytelling, but it's about making opinions too.
Yeah.
Draft capital is a common thing in any industry. I don't care what sport you're in, whether it's hockey, basketball, baseball, football, doesn't matter. Draft capital is what it is. What you do with it is another story. But yeah, 0-17 is another story. The Lions finished 0-60. I had to deal with that many years ago. That wasn't good. The Browns joined them there.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Great first act, Jillian. What are your thoughts? Am I as obnoxious or crazy or I don't know? Give me some critiques. What do you think about me, or do you think I'm washed up and I'm going to hand over the network to you? I need some critiques from this young lady.
I don't have any critiques. No, I thought it went exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Okay, and how is that? I'd like to know now.
Well, you sent me a lot of samples, so I watched a lot of the shows.
Oh, so she does her homework. I am impressed with this young lady. I'm telling you. Well, that's true. She does her homework, and I'll tell you what. Now her and I are going to be able to see each other at least once a week. Where can we find you on social? All right, do you have some social media? You have our social media, Falcons. I know Jillian is going to be a hit on our network. I know she will, and she did check out the samples. But I'll tell you one thing. The one thing I do take a lot of pride as I've been in this industry 47 years is being able to find hidden gems and talent. And Jillian, I say this as a major compliment to you, and I know what I have here. You've done great. My goal is just to try to make sure that we can go out there and have more fun, and you can put the best quality tape on there. And if there's anybody that should be the best, I am confident that I'm looking at this young lady in front of me. You are going to do, in the eyes of Dick Vitale, awesome, baby. But I don't want to lose my voice because even though it's probably gone after 47 years anyway. But you are just unbelievable, Jillian. I am so glad that you have joined my network and I have a chance to work with you. You are dynamite. He wants to know exactly from how they can find you on social media, which maybe you should let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
Let me connect really quickly to the chat, and then I could
Okay, go ahead. I don't know. Can you do that?
I don't know if I can, but you can find me at Jillian Schumacher. So next time I'll put it underneath my name.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, there you go. She'll get used to it. So Jillian Schumacher. And again, she's bright enough. She goes out there and uses LinkedIn, and that's how I found her. And all of a sudden we connected and we sent messages, and there you go. Now you're going to see her on Thursday nights. What a jewel you are, Jillian. There you go.
Oh, nice. Play-by-play caller for the Atlanta. I do play-by-play.
There you go. You just shows play-by-play. Can only imagine what you're going to be like on there. I look forward to hearing some of your samples. Or, hey, maybe one of these days what we could do, if you're interested, and maybe you can send Candy a little clip of yours, and we'll put it on our air so everybody can go ahead and look at that.
All right, I'll look up Ryan Cameron.
Ryan Cameron. Okay, so there you go. It's all about networking, people. And I have one here, a really good one. Any closing thoughts at all, Jillian?
I do not.
All right, we're going to have Candy come in for a station break. Atlanta Falcons runs the South. Ryan Cameron, that's your name. Are you on LinkedIn, by the way, Ryan? If you are, I'll send you a request and we can connect there. But I'm so glad that you popped in there and asked Jillian some questions, because you're going to have an opportunity to do it more often. Ryan, you made our day to come in here as well. So Candy, go ahead and give us a station break.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the industry. Old school media versus new school media. He's a great storyteller, so go get the book. And if you want to learn anything about media, hey, he's got some awesome stories, some pictures, him and a young Muhammad Ali, him, young Tommy Lasorda. Go get the book. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. Go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights is baseball night. Tuesday night is football. Wednesday and Thursday nights, you just never know what you're going to get, so definitely tune in. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have show ideas or topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And then last but not least, if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. Just do it now. Just do it. I don't know what you're waiting for. Just do it. Click it, like us, share us, and then turn your notifications on so you're notified anytime we go live. We have some great programming. One of the ones that I will just highlight, if you've heard of CTE or head injuries or brain injuries, we have a series that we're doing with a former 1994 U.S. Olympic bobsledder. It's on our No Limits. So we've done it the last 2 weeks. So go to our YouTube channel and check it out. We're trying to raise money so he can help people, give them free care. So go check out the channel, No Limits again. Thanks, Scott. Back to you.
And coming up after Motor City Man Mouse Show, we have Fire Up with Candy Ebling and the rest of the country club crew. So meanwhile, Jillian, I can't thank you very much for coming on your first show. You were absolutely fantastic. And I am looking forward to working with you on Thursday nights. I hope you feel the same way.
Of course, I'm very excited. It was a great first episode.
Well, we have a lot more good work ahead of us, Jillian, and I am proud of you. I really, really am. And you're going to meet a lot of people. My goal is to make sure this is a networking experience for you. But more importantly, we get you the tape necessary. And I'll make sure you get the topics ahead of time. But the way you handle things, you're just a pro. And I'm just looking to hopefully be somebody you'll remember down the road. And in the meantime, we're going to have fun getting you. Perfect. We're both going to have a great time as we speak along. So, hey, there's my hidden gem right in front of me. And I'm looking forward to working with this young lady. She's a really dynamite young lady. And I hope the rest of our national audience around the world get to know Jillian Schumacher. This young lady is a force to be reckoned with. And I can see her appearing in my next book, which I will be writing a second one probably later this year or in the next year. And as long as Jillian does what I know she's going to do, this young lady is going to be mixed in with a lot of big names. And I am looking forward to putting her in it. This is what this is about. Guys like me are in it for a certain period of time. We need people like Jillian Schumacher to come on here and bring this broadcasting sports media business to go forward. We need people like this. They know what it's like to put in the work and know what it takes to sacrifice to tell stories to make what we do pleasant. And that's exactly what we're out here to accomplish. And I am so glad to be paired up with this young lady. I am excited as well that we were able to connect. And our goal is to continue to keep it going in the best possible way. So on behalf of my new young co-host, Jillian Schumacher, my name is Scott Morgan of Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Motor City Madmouth. I get to see Jillian next Thursday night, and we appreciate you, Jillian. Great first act, but I know you have a lot of great ones ahead of you. Okay, young lady?
Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody, and Fire Up is coming up next. Bye now.